Yup.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I think we're live now. Hi. Thank you so much to our audience who's joining us tonight. Let me just quickly introduce myself first. My name is Natalie, and I'm a writer with ageprop.my. Today, I will be your moderator for this session, where we will be talking about the title will be on buy a property now, gila or not. So, for our audience who's not sure what the term gila means, it actually means crazy or not to buy a property now. Okay, this is actually the second session of our ageprop Malaysia's Facebook live webinar series. This is in conjunction with ageprop Malaysia's Virtual Property Expo 2021. Okay, if you haven't head over to vpex.ageprop.my yet, I'm telling you, you are really missing out, because there you'll be able to find new properties. You'll be able to stand a chance to win exclusive prizes worth more than 10,000 ringgit. Okay, so if you haven't yet, do head over to vpex.ageprop.my. And if you missed out last week's session, we actually discussed about MM2H, the MM2H program. So if you missed out, it's okay. You can still head over to our Facebook page to watch the previous video, or check out the full report on our 24th September e-weekly issue. Okay, and before we proceed further, I have to first introduce our panelists for tonight. Okay, let's start with Tuan Haji Ishak. Hi, Tuan Haji Ishak. Thank you so much for joining us. Tuan Haji Ishak is the founder and managing director of IM Global Properties Consultants Sendirian Berhad. He was the president of the Malaysian Institute of Property and Facility Manager, and he is the current president of the Malaysian Association of Muslim Negotiators. Okay, he was also the chairman of the Property Management Practice Committee of BOVIAP, and he is the past chairman of Building Board of RISM. He frequently talks, he's a frequent speaker for the Ministry of Housing, COB, JMB and MCs, especially in the area of property management. Okay, and next we have Jonathan. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I think I met Jonathan back 5 years ago, and that was when I found out that he actually traded his music career to explore the prospects of the real estate industry. So, over the past 16 years, Jonathan has closed hundreds of deals, and he started his own agency called GMAC Realtors, which has then been acquired by Redfield Properties Malaysia after seeing how well he was doing there. So under his leadership, as well as David Ong, who is the founder of Redfield, Redfield actually joined the Keller Williams global family in 2019. So they are now part of a 180,000 strong global network with the aim of moving forward together as an agent-centric company. Jonathan also is now the Deputy Regional Operating Principal of Keller Williams Malaysia. Okay, last but not least, we have Praveen. Hi, Praveen. Hey, Praveen, I think you're on mute.
Hi, Natalie. How are you? Good to
Yeah.
see you again,
Yes. Hi,
as
good to see
always.
you, Praveen. Yeah, Praveen is the CEO of Zarian Properties. He has over 33 years of international real estate experience. Okay, not only in Malaysia, in Vietnam, in UK, and he's worked with firms like JLW, Tenggara Capital, and Signforce. Praveen is currently the member of the Institute of Corporate Directors Malaysia, and he's also a fellow of the Royal Institute of Surveyors Malaysia and the member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors UK. So Praveen has also led and managed teams up to 100 talents across multiple work streams in Malaysia. So today our topic will be about whether is it a bad idea to buy a property now? Okay, have the price truly bottomed? And if you want to take the plunge now, right, what should we look out for? What are some of the things we should consider? But before we start the topic, right, I think I need to give a background of the current property market situation in Malaysia. Based on the NAPIC report, which was released on 15 September, titled Malaysian Property Market Report First Half of 2021, we have to note that close to 140,000 transactions worth 62 billion ringgit were recorded. That is up by 21% in volume and 32% in value compared to the same period last year. Okay, property transactions in all regions recorded double-digit growth, except for the East Coast region. And also, a noteworthy point is that developers have also shifted their attention to the affordable residential segment, right? So almost 72% of new launches are priced below 500,000 ringgit. So maybe Tuan Ishak, maybe share with us, what is the sentiments now on the ground? Are home buyers coming out again, actively looking now? Because prices are have truly come to the bottom. Maybe share with us a little bit.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah.
for inviting me tonight. And thanks to all my fellow panelists. Well, your questions on whether the people are coming back to the market to buy the property. Well, I would say that it's still a cautious mode. People still want to see, wait and see on what is going to happen after the opening of the economy. People are anxiously waiting for the phase three to come, and I hope we are looking in October. We were told that the interstate travel will be allowed, and the vaccination program will achieve its objective. So basically, generally the people are in the cautious mode. People are still waiting what is going to happen in the next couple of months. Even though the government has basically announced attractive promotions that will be promoted until the end of 2021, like home ownership campaign, right? Until end 2021, interest rates are now at all time very low now, below 3% now. Developers are offering never before seen the deals a lot. So even though the market has seen from the NAPIC report it mentioned that the latest property market has shown the significant increase by 21% in volume, 31% in value. But on the ground, people are still want to take a wait and see attitude, right? So the rejection rates, by the bank, loan rejection rates by the bank stood 28% by the end of 2020. We want to see whether there is an increase number or a decrease loan rejection rates, right? Uh, we want to also see on whether the middle 40 or the top 20 rate now is becoming more and more joining the M40 now. Almost about 20% of M40 shifted down to B40, right? And about 12.8% from T20 have shifted down to M40. So it shows that people have to offload their properties. There are some segment of people will have to let go the properties. There are a lot of attractive price in the market now, especially in the secondary market. There are a lot of below market value around, but again, the challenge is for the buyers to get the loans from the bank, right? So I would say when this year response, positive response from the market.
I see. Okay. Jonathan, is it the same on your side? Do you see that the market is still very cautious now?
I think the reality of the things is this is a very unprecedented crisis that we are in, or situation that we are in, that we have never seen before. Economic books, history books, business books don't have this precedent. I wish I could go back to my school and tell my teacher how do I live this life right now, because it's totally different. And what 100 just mentioned just now is that there is a seismic shift in all three components of the income bracket, right? The B40, M40, and the T20. And in reality, right, you never see an economy crisis or whatever situation that we have, where we have adjustment of these three key components, or three key segment of the people, right, are going through this. And price correction is already an indication in the latest NAPIC report. I think the house price index is already pointing downwards in terms of a negative trend in terms of price movement. One of the significant interesting thing that has happened in the NAPIC report that was shown is that it has the highest amount of application for loans in the first half. It has also the highest amount of loan being dispersed or loan approved ever. So one key thing that we have to take note is liquidity is not an issue in our country. There is still liquidity available. There's still a lot of access to credit. Interest rate is at an all-time low. I don't see it going up any higher in the next couple of months or couple of quarters. I think it's going to maintain where we are. I think the first market that corrects, I believe, is the upper range market in the market. Because the T20 really needs to move their property in order for them to either recalibrate their financial standing or to look at refinance their current businesses or their life. So from our side, we are seeing a lot of movements of the upper range market properties. Some of my agents are doing the best year ever in their business because of this movement. So I think the first movement that has to move is the upper range market, where there are really good corrections. And I think the people in the market today that can qualify for loans or that can have the ability to acquire properties with the acquisition cost that's in place are the people that have done well during the last 2 years. And they will continue to do well because they probably have readjusted their business. They were probably in the right business, or they could be selling face masks right now because I believe it's all-time necessity right now, right? So whatever the business they're doing, they're probably doing well. So there is that other part of the spectrum where the consumer in that area are doing well because of the pandemic, right? So I think that we are seeing a lot of changing hands in the upper range market. I've seen in terms of our production has gone up 130% this month compared to last month. Month to month, we're 130% up. Month on month, we're about 12% up, right? So meaning that, but I studied back the transaction records that we have just this afternoon, it's pointing towards the upper range market, the 1-2 million ringgit above market, which I think there is that opportunity there where there is some sort of correction in the price.
I see. Praveen, I know that you are focusing a lot on the higher end kind of properties, right? Like those that are priced above 1 million or so. Is this true? I mean, do you see that there are more movements there as
Oh,
opposed to
definitely. I
1 million?
think the high net worth individuals and the ultra high net worth individuals are well cashed up. They seem to be looking at this as an opportunity to either secure good properties that would have never come into the market otherwise, or to secure good deals, or to also consolidate their positions, as Jonathan was saying. It's a very, very active market. And I go back to what Jonathan said. It is record year of disbursement of loans for properties, right? I've got friends in the banks who are saying that it's the biggest amount that disbursed in the history of the bank, right? So it is massive, right? Now, so let's look. We are only talking about property here, yeah. I'm not talking about the impact of COVID on everyone's life. Yes, that is another segment, maybe for another conversation. But the conversation here today is the property market active? It is. I think even if you look at all the listed companies' reports, they're all recording higher sales. They're all, and these are new launches, yeah, right? Let's not talk about the overhang. The question to me is the market active, right? The market is very active, right? I think HOC developers pivoting into the digital marketing plus liquidity in the market has really created a very strong demand. So it's strange, right? The below 500,000 property launches from the developers very active. In the secondary market, what we are seeing is commercial properties are really a lot of sales, and the ultra high net worth individuals are focusing in luxury properties. Right?
Okay,
So
okay.
it is very active.
But we are saying that, as I mentioned earlier on, we are saying that developers are also shifting their attention to the affordable residential segment, right? So,
Yes.
what about these? What about the properties, below the 1 million, at the price below 500,000? What about these kind of properties? Are they also, home buyers going out there to look for these kind of properties now?
There is demand, but I think location is key, right? I think trying to place something in a location that doesn't demand 700,000, yet trying to dress it up is just not going to fly anymore, right? I think the location is very key. Nowadays, location is determined by connectivity, amenities, and lack of a better word, Natalie, the live, work, play team, right? If it's there for them, it will really sell.
Yeah, because I understand that there are a lot of discussion ongoing now about post-pandemic homes, right? Like people are saying like, oh, maybe I don't know whether location is still like the mantra to look at, or people are saying now, okay, maybe there are other things to look at, because probably people don't have to drive to office that often anymore, or or they're having this hybrid kind of working model, that kind of thing, and then
Right.
they're saying that, or maybe they're looking for other aspects in the property, like space, let's say space or greenery, that kind of thing. Is it something that, is this what you're observing as well in the market, Praveen?
I'll share with you on the corporate side, right? In New York, Google has decided to open its offices 100%. They, in fact, have just bought a new office building, right? So I think offices are here to stay, but how we work might be different. I agree, right? So if offices are here to stay and there is a need to have the hybrid solution, yes, I think there's going to be decentralization of where we stay, but not where we work, right? That could be, as long as you're connected and you don't mind taking a 40-minute train ride, let's say from Kajang to Damansara Heights, then yes, if there's something there, it is possible, because you only need to come 2 to 3 times a week to office, right?
Yeah.
Notwithstanding, looking at how the market is playing out and the infrastructure that's in place, I still think location is going to be key, Natalie, right? But location now is defined differently, where connectivity is defined more by public transport and the amenities around it.
Okay. Tuan Haji, based on your engagement with home buyers and whatnot, what do you think home buyers are looking for now? Increasingly, maybe they place more importance on previously, which they did not?
Well, to me, I think we have got to accept the facts that home is home is actually everybody is looking for a house lah. Home is shelter. It is a necessity. So whether you like it or not, property will be a good for you to invest. It will be appreciated over a period of time, so you can hedge against inflation. So everybody actually understand that. So everybody is looking for the right property, the right locations, and based on their affordability to own houses, and whether the new properties offered by developers or the second house or the secondary market, in the secondary market. So everybody actually is trying to adjust themselves, but of course the top priority for the people now is to basically see on whether they will be rest assured to have income to support their expenses, okay, to pay for whatever the top consider the top priority to them in terms of their safety, the job security, and so on. So, but of course, a property. So we have to understand the facts that buying property, will require you to have a proper plan, in life. So we can see that the category of people in this country, okay, which is divided into four quadrants. One is perhaps the employee, so who are basically depends on the take home pays, so this group of people and the self-employed people are basically uh, the most affected people by this pandemic, we say. But during this crisis, as what the other panelists mentioned, that the business owner or the investor, I don't know what to say, who are the high net worth people. This is actually the time for them to come in and really make a good a good purchase, because there are a lot of attractive deals are around, right? um, so you can see there are two set of people, in the left quadrants and in the right quadrant, right? So but we need to really see the affordable homes will need to be really affordable to these people, must be access to this group of people who are actually looking for for the place to live. But of course, when the government announced the rent to own scheme, which we fully support the idea of having the rent to own scheme, especially to the young generation, the youth, to the new young graduates, so this perhaps the idea that will be easily buy in by this group of people, right? The government have to put a focus on delivering this rent to own scheme. They have got to have more and more projects that will be easily accessible by this group of people, right? But on the other hand, of course, I agree that for those who are in the high income bracket, the deals is very good, and that's why you see the banks are now very happy giving loans to this group of people with a low interest rate. So this is really a good time for them to come in and grab the below market values, right? But we are deeply concerned also, those people who are in the left quadrants. So how are we going to ensure they have also the same equal opportunity, to own houses, right? So today, I think the government has made an announcement that the government is going to set a ceiling price for the secondary market, which to me it should not be. The government should not put a ceiling price to the secondary market. They have done it in the primary market to control what set of affordable homes, the definition of affordable homes, and so on. So let's government focus and supply more affordable homes in this category, right? Because it is a social obligations on the government to ensure that the rakyat have enough supply for these affordable homes. But when you want to come in, okay, to put a ceiling price to a secondary market, which totally unacceptable. So I think the government have to reconsider to look back into this proposal because to us it is better to let the market to dictate, okay, the price, because when people buy the house, the property is an investment tool, right? So they can perhaps use the property to basically for their for 20 30 years later when you want to cash out. If the government are trying to control a selling price to what they have invested in today, that is going to be a very sad news. So we hope the government do not really go with this idea.
Right, right. So are we saying that with this intervention, it will actually stall the comeback of the market?
Sure. Correct.
Yeah. Jonathan, maybe you have something you want to share.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree with Haji. I think the problem of the younger generation or the people that has been priced out of the market have been prevailing for a very long time, and that cannot be solved by controlling prices. That can only be solved by having a proper policy, in implementing a good policy or a good plan towards building affordable houses. A very good example that we can copy is the HDB policy and HDB plan in Singapore. I think that's a great plan, that everybody has a chance to own a home and there are conditions attached to it. And it has made a lot of people feel happy, right? Because now I have a home, I can have, and HDB flats does do very well in the secondary market as well, but with conditions, right? So that to me is a good solution to support the lower income bracket or the people that are priced out of the market. Now, price out doesn't mean they're lower income. A person that's household income of 8 to 10,000, they can be priced out on the location that they want to buy, right? Because the location doesn't have that kind of availability property for them. Now, the other part of it is COVID has changed the way we behave, because what we thought we could live in a studio apartment right now may not be possible. I got friends looking to buy new homes right now, is because they are anticipating the new changes that may come, right? A lot of things are digitally based, physically enhanced right now. So working from home, I can have kids going to school from at home right now. And can you imagine 4-person in a living hall going Zoom at the same time? That has changed the way we behave and the way we think about our utilization of space at home. So therefore, there is also a change of behavior where consumers are looking for different design properties that could fit their usage as well. So I think these are the two key things that I see that is changing the behaviors. But I'm really for what Haji has mentioned just now, that the government should have a proper plan and a policy for the next 10, 20 years in how are they going to help solve the problem where people are priced out of the market, because that is not a good social economy problem to have, where people are priced out of the market. And there's a high demand for people buying their own home. We are Asian by nature, and buying a home is probably the number one thing before we get married, right? That is it's like a way of a checkpoint in our lives. So home buying will always be something, a priority in our lives, right? So I think that is probably what is needed in order for us to address those issues.
So we are saying that the way it should be done is to have a proper policies, proper plan by the government, instead of having the price intervention. Praveen, maybe you want to add in your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. So definitely, I think price intervention is not a good thing in a free market, but I think a proper structure, a firm structure that is actionable, right? I think there's nothing wrong copying the HDB model. It works for Asians. It's tropical. It works for multi generation families. It's really good. It meets all the requirements that we need, right? So it's a great model. It's about implementing it with the Malaysian laws. But back to your question just now, Natalie, post pandemic, what are the designs? I just take what Jonathan said just now, right? I think space utilization is the key. So I think if there's going to be changes, I think you're going to see layouts changing, right? To allow for work from home, to allow for work out from home as well. It's just, for us to live healthily within the home. And again, with this post pandemic, I think a lot of people have also realized that care for their elderly is very important. So, multi generational living, I think, is going to be key for the layouts. But I tell you what, if you want to see what a terrace house of the future is going to be, not promoting, but I'm really excited about what Sime Darby is doing with the competition, inviting 100 architects to design the new terrace house of the future. I really can't wait for that. I think that's a fantastic initiative. Because I think that will really show what future is going to be.
So like all these criteria that you're mentioning, right? Like space, having enough space, being able to work from home, to exercise from home, and these kind of the things. Will it still remain? Do you think this will still remain relevant even like once the economy opens, right? Because everybody's now heading back out again, like to the office. Everybody's sort of like trying to get back to their normal life, right? Instead of
Yeah.
being cooped up at home. I think even children, probably their parents are sending them back to the daycare and things like that. So will this criteria still remain relevant? Has it become like a necessity now, or is it going to be something that after a while people will be like, actually, I don't really need it. I probably can survive in a Soho.
Right. So that's why space utilization is important, right? You can have the space, but if you don't need it, you can use it for something else, right? I think that is the key of the word space utilization. So I think Scandinavian designs, Japanese designs, how they use space utilization. I think that's going to be key, right? So I think Jonathan really hit it, right? You got four people in a particular time, either working from home or doing something from home. So how you utilize the space, and now if those four people are not around, or two of them are not around, then that space can be used for something else, right? I think that is
Understand.
the key, Natalie. The flexibility of the space utilization, right? And as I said, I just can't wait to see the designs come out, and how it's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen. Also, I think one of the key highlights of the NAPIC report is also, of course, we cannot run away from this. The overhang properties, as to date. I think in first half of 2021, currently, just to give a background to our audience, currently there's properties worth of almost 49 billion ringgit. Overhang properties in the market, and close to 35% of these overhang residential properties are priced between 500,000 to 1 million, and 60% of them actually make up the high rise units, right? So in lieu of all these figures that we see out there, right, is there an investment opportunity that investors or home buyers can still look at? Tuan Haji Ishak, maybe you want to share your views on this.
Well, to me, I think what is the issues of overhang. It is not the issue during the pandemic only. It has been
Mm,
for decades now.
mm, mm,
Um, if you zoom into the locality of where these projects uh, located, so they are some of the projects are built or were built not in the proper place. The place where the people are not interested to buy at all, and these are the numbers that carries the total overhang. But of course, when you mentioned about the high rise projects and so on, so to me, I think the situation are basically, you know, I think it's quite a temporary, you know. So during the pandemic, during the crisis, so people perhaps will not interested to buy property, right? When the banks restricts, loans to this category of people, because normally the high end properties, people buy for cash flow, people buy for a rental income, people buy for the investment purpose. Not many people are basically purchase the high rise properties for their own use, you know. But for the group of people who buy for a property investment, they want to see on whether the property can be rented out easily or not. Number two, whether the bank can finance them, right? And many of them own more than one or two properties already. So loan to value ratio now, as you understand, so the bank will need to also come in and help. If they really want to resolve the overhang issues, the bank would have to come in and lend their support. All right. So this group of people, so they want to buy, but they are subject to a number of properties they can borrow from the bank. If the bank finance only 70% or 65%, and the debt service ratio, the calculation of debt service ratio need to be changed. You know, you base on the net salary, so and then you start to put in all the commitment and all that. So at the end of the day, they find there's no way for them to buy any more properties, you know. So I think all the parties we need to come in and and study this and find a solution to these overhang issues in this country.
Okay. Jonathan, what is your, probably share with us, on, as the question earlier on I posted to Tuan Haji Ishak, is there still an investment opportunity out there for these investors or home buyers?
Right. So the question is, if there's this game show called The Price is Right, right? And I think it's all about down to price, right? And the overhang issue is, again, I agree, it's not a COVID issue. It's the can that's going down the road, and everybody's kicking the can down the road. COVID has kicked the can even further down the road, and we are facing this right now. I think the reality is those property are potentially not priced correctly or not priced to the market or where it's supposed to be priced correctly. So I think if there's a price adjustment, developers have to find a way to creatively adjust the price or find a way to take a loss right now and move on in life, right? Because I think if you don't adjust the price, there's just no buyers right now. And banks are also very cautious because of the amount of risk that's being exposed by some of these overhang projects. But they're also exposed if the project doesn't sell off, right? So I think there must be some sort of a meeting point where some parties have to move and make some sort of a condition that helps the market to find that this is a very good opportunity. But right now, I don't see that the way it is. I don't see having any sort of concessions that's being done on this. But I think eventually, through time, something has to happen. Because if you don't change the price, nobody's going to buy. Because there's just so much options right now in the market, right? And we're really in a buyer's market. We're not in the seller's market. I mean, there are no one lining up in front of the offices wanting to buy properties right now. We don't see it that way, right? So I think there have to be some sort of adjustment in price. And if the price is right, I think investors should go in right now. If the price is right, because I think it all comes back to the entry point that we are in, and we have a lot of options, a lot of options. So I think as an investor today, go and look at your options. Right?
I see. Okay. Thanks, Jonathan. Praveen, actually, we have a question for you from one of our audience. I'll just read out the question to you if that's okay.
Sure.
So the question is, looking at the emphasis on ESG, right, which has gotten most property developers, now trying to meet that criteria and trying to make sure that their products actually meet this ESG component. how do you see this impacting the kind of product offerings in the future, especially for those who are promoting sustainable kind of development, yeah. Maybe what is your take on that?
I think there is a concerted effort already, right? The government is already promoting sustainable cities. Now, if you look at developers and in the ESG framework, I think some are already very serious on the zero net carbon footprint, and even in the 12th Malaysian plan, I think the idea is by 2050 we have to be a zero net carbon attempt to be a zero net carbon country. So I think developers are already taking into it. And if you had a chance to read Dr. Jeffrey's comments on how Malaysian REITs are also proposing to do their ESG by going into social housing, right? So I think there is already attempts by the developers. It's going to take time. I think there is already demand from buyers on it, but there's got to be a real balance, right? Because if you look at the crisis in UK at the moment, where there's no pumps no fuel in the pumps, right? It's a double whammy, right? In number one, because all the big oil giants didn't spend money in their pipelines and in their new fields, so there's no fuel. And also, obviously, with the Brexit, they don't have fuel drivers to deliver. But what I'm saying is, for ESG, yes, I think it is a very strong feature. We are also practicing it because we think that that's what our clients would require of us, and that's what our friends and family would require of us as well. And I think developers are already doing it. But the framework, I think the government's also thinking about it. We are doing something about it by submitting some papers to Ministry of Housing, Ministry of Finance, in order for developers to ensure that they hit the zero net carbon status. Yep. But Natalie, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Please, I just got a follow up to the overhang. Maybe after this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, I just wanted to ask also, because I think for home buyers, right, when they hear the word ESG, I mean, sometimes sometimes I mean, for me lah, maybe I feel like, okay, so ESG, right? What does it mean to me, right? Like, does this mean that the property that I'll be buying will actually be more expensive, right? Because probably they have to incorporate certain sustainable features inside there. Will this ESG compliance actually raise the property prices?
I don't think so. I think some developers have shown that it doesn't. Right? I'm not one. If it doesn't raise, if it raises prices, then the S has failed. Right? The social has failed. Right? So I don't think so. I think you can be very clever in ensuring that you're environmentally friendly. You don't have to be such a go all the way, but even if you have simple features, things that are practical, Natalie, there's no use trying to do something that is not going to be sustainable at the end, right? And things, the G, governance, right? I did not break any law. I made sure that it was done ethically, right? So simple things like that. So I think we don't have to overthink this ESG. It is about being a good person. I think that's the more important thing of what ESG is. Right? We don't harm Mother Earth, right? We don't harm other people, and we don't break the law. Simple.
Yeah. John, maybe you maybe do you see do you agree with Pravin? Start slow. Take it one step at a time. You don't have to go all the way out. It's about taking one step at a time, and then we see how it goes.
Right. So I think the bigger picture of things is basically there must be good policies and high intention from the government that wanting to implement this as well in general, because you need the whole ecosystem, right? You need electric cars chargers, you need roads that's free from what do you call it, carbon emission cars. You need all this kind of stuff, and there are a lot of regulation that's required to be there. And there are a lot of incentive also that's required. In order for you to change behavior, there must be incentive. We are creatures of incentive, right? If there's no behavior change, right, there's no incentive, right? Why would I change my behavior? So are you giving us carbon emission-free tax breaks? Are you giving us, if I buy a property in this location, it could be a little bit more expensive, but I get a tax break because I bought a property here. Like simple stuff like that, right? to help me understand and also allow me an opportunity to experience this, but at the same time incentivize me. And the government has policies in place that they can use at their disposal to incentivize and also to manage and juggle around. And I agree, Parindra, it's all about being a better human being, right? How we treat each other better, how we treat Mother Nature better, and how the government can give good incentives for us so that we then can be better citizens, right? So I think there is that whole big conversation that we need to have. I don't think we have enough conversation about that. If you want to see this through in a more bigger way, but I believe that we have to start somewhere. Just like the cars, how they have plug-in hybrids first. They don't go battery straight away, right? So I still have both, but I can experience what it's like to be a hybrid car, electric car, right? So I'm saying that because I have a plug-in hybrid. So I'm trying to understand. I understand that journey as well, right? So and it's different. And the challenge is I cannot find a condo that will allow me to install my charger. That's a problem. So you're going to fix that problem as well, right? So where's the policy in that? But I think moving forward, it has to be that way because the world is changing that way. And it's our responsibility as citizens of this planet to do something about it. Right.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'll just I think there's some questions coming in, so maybe I'll just post them to the relevant panelists. Tuan Haji, there's a question for you. The question is, do you think for property buyers who are now they're opting to buy properties from developers who spend more or design purposefully due to sustainable features, right? They should be allowed certain like tax exemptions from the government, so that there is so that it is a part of the push and commitment toward this. There's a push and commitment towards this agenda.
Yeah, I think if the government, offer certain incentive to the developer, so that will perhaps a good, idea for a developer to come up with a good design concept, and the new kind of features to offer to the home buyers. So I think I think the government should consider of giving incentive or tax breaks to the developer to encourage them to come up with a better design in the ideal home. So I think I agree with the idea of the one who posed the questions, that the government should come in to offer to the developer. Yeah.
Okay.
Giving incentive.
Yeah. Thanks, Tuan Haji. Praveen, you mentioned you wanted to share a little bit more about the overhang figures, is it? Or
Yeah, no. So
yeah.
the overhang, just to stop where Tuan Haji was advising us, right? Yes, the 4 P's fail, right? Price fail, product place fail, and promotion fail. That was it, and that is because there was no proper research. They just went bang, unbridled confidence and development, and so that's what happened, right? It just ended up there. However, in response to what Jonathan commented, I'm already seeing, I mean, look, UAM Sunrise have already given up discounts up to 45%. There's some sweet deals by Putrajaya Holdings in the market at the moment. You can already see there's a trend already, right? I think even the other day, Tropicana were advertised, right? They had a 50% off their shop house, right? So we are already seeing it, right? I think the developers already understand that, it came when they went out to the market, they were probably wrongly priced and wrong product at the wrong place, right? So now they're correcting it, and the only thing they can correct now, because the product in place is already there, is the price, right? So we are already seeing it, right? And I think that is the only way forward for a lot of the developers. If they want to get rid of the inventory and be cash flow positive, the only way is to actually provide great offers to us to buy.
Yeah, Praveen, like for the higher end home market, right? Like you all mentioned, all the three panelists mentioned that actually the movement is there, right? It's very active. People are there's transactions going on and everything. The question is, do you think that we still need like the MM2H to actually stimulate these higher end home markets, or is it already vibrant enough on its own?
Um, if okay, I don't think the very luxury market needs MM2H, right? I think the MM2H is in a good place. Below 4 or below 5 million category. I think above 5 million. I think the Malaysian high net worths are playing in that place. If your question is should the MM2H program be retained and or retained in a different format? I think that the sudden change in the MM2H was very wrong. I think if you wanted it, it should have been gradual, and I think there should have been a lot of engagement, not with us, but with the MM2H agents who are really in touch with the applicants, right? I think if at all, I think the screening process should have been better instead of simply saying that we want high quality. If you want high quality uh, investors in MM2H, the only thing they're looking for is tax. If you want to get the mega millionaires and the mega billionaires, they're only going to come here if you give them tax benefits. So, like for example, Singapore asked, right? Why did the founder of Facebook go there? Why did the founder of Dyson go there? Why are all of them there? Because they have special tax incentives if you set up your family office there, right? That's the only reason, right? So if you're going to increase your MM2H, you're not going to attract. It doesn't work that way, right? If you increase it, you're locking out people, right? So I think it was maybe an option where I want to sell Mercedes, but I'm pricing it at Rolls Royce because I want the Rolls Royce buyer to buy my Mercedes. Cannot lah.
Yeah, John, what's your take on that, John? I can see you
Yeah,
smiling there.
I like the Rolls Royce Mercedes things, and it's all about value, right? As they make that announcement, potentially we are more expensive than Portugal Visa right now. Potentially, there's so much more value to be in the EU than in Malaysia right now, and that's the reality, right? That's the reality we are in right now. Then you are asking the investors, or you're asking these people. There are other choices right now in the market, and we have not been really attracting the most foreigners in our region right now. We are not the most attractive to begin with. We have a lot of things that can be attractive. Let me get you right. I mean, if things are correctly done, we can be a very attractive market to the foreign market in terms of being investors or being their second home, because we got a lot of stuff that other places don't have. But we got to really get our act right in the policy making, because we got to be clear what's the income that we can derive from this particular program. And the program has been doing very well since the late 90s, right? And it has generated a lot of interest, put us on the map, and getting a lot of people to see this as a hub for their lives or their children. I know of some of my foreign friends that actually use this place as a checkpoint to get their children to secondary schools before sending them out to colleges and universities in the US or UK, because they get to study English here at a better price. They come in here for medical tourism. So there are a lot of things that we can offer, but we shouldn't have a policy that is so drastic. That was just announced without any, like what Prime said, without any consideration with the stakeholders. I don't think it was the best policy that will make it work. I don't think it will get quality that way. I totally agree with Praveen. So I think they need to be relooked, and I think they need to think through and go back to historical numbers, right? How are we driving these numbers, and what has been happening in the past 20 years in this program? And I think there's a lot of opportunity to improve this. And I agree, tax breaks are what you need, right? And you have to be competitive. I mean, look at what's happening in the market and think from a global perspective. I think we shouldn't think from an internal perspective, but we should think from a global perspective and be competitive to win the market share of the international audience. I think that needs to be done.
Yeah. Tuan Haji, you have anything you want to add on to what Jonathan?
I agree that the Malaysia My Second Home program, we cannot send a wrong signal to the international communities. So if you have the program says a second home, so it is not the first home. If you trying to do something, so you will have to plan it properly. You cannot be suddenly announce and that signal sent to the international community. Then the foreigners will feel that what happened to the law of the country. So it is a flip flop policy, and come up with out of suddens. The government should engage with the stakeholders. So the government should listen to the MM2H agents. They know better about what are the needs, and what are the inspirations from these people who are coming to Malaysia. So I think the MM2H, when they promoted at that time in Malaysia, is to basically to allow the foreigners who fulfill certain criteria to stay in Malaysia, to help Malaysia, and but now when the government give the policy that will shy away them, and some I think many of them will definitely has responded negatively, so they will have to find another place, Thailand, or even Indonesia or whatever. So I think we lost them. So we should not be able to have this kind of scenario right now, where the country needs stability, the country needs investment, and so on. So I think the government really hope that the government should reconsider back, the policy announced. And I was told that this policy will come effective from October, I was told. But I hope the government should listen and do more engagement with the stakeholders.
Okay, thanks, Tuan Haji. Yeah, maybe going back to our topic for today, right? Whether to buy a property now. I'm sure there are home buyers out there, who are thinking of of signing on the dotted lines already. Based on what the experts are saying. I mean, what you are sharing about how there are opportunities out there, and it's just about looking out for them, and also making sure that whether it suits you, and whether whether you can afford it. So maybe we can just go one round. Maybe John, you want to start off? Maybe share with us a little. Maybe tell us what should these home buyers what are some of the checklists that they should be looking at before they actually commit themselves to actually buying a property now.
Right. I think it's important for the home buyers to really understand the market trend of that particular location. Because a good buy in this location may not be a good buy in that location, right? And the value of what is a good buy differs from location to location. In some locations where the market is so hot, a 5,000 ringgit adjustment is a good buy, for example, right? So understanding the trends, and I think consumers should demand from either the real estate agent or do their own research to ask them for a comparative market analysis for the past 12 months. Look at the trends, right? Look at trends, look at data, and be data centric in your journey of looking at values right now. Because I think if you're seeing that you are, and if you can come to some sort of appetite, say that, hey, if I can buy something at this price point here, which I couldn't buy in the past 2 years, maybe I should commit to this right now. And what would that be? I think make peace with that, have that decision. I tell some of my investor friends, I say, look, if you think 15% adjustment is a great rate, go out there to the market right now and look for 15% adjustment in that location. Now, if you get 12, 13, 14%, maybe that's something that you want to commit already, and that's a good deal. So be clear in what you want to achieve, in what you want to look at. And that's very important. I think speak to a professional, look at data, and tell yourself, what do you think is a good value that you can accept right now? I think the dream of catching the bottom is a myth. Because the minute you know when the bottom is, it has already gone up. You only can find the bottom when the market start moving up. Right? So make a decision. If you come into this market right now and have some sort of expectation adjusted, make a call and pull the trigger, because you will not you would likely be in a winning position in the next 5 to 10 years horizon. because the market will somehow find its foot, it will go back to a growth rate again, and all things will come to that kind of a point. So I think be clear what you want to achieve. Do it with data analysis and logic, right? Good deals is a big word, right? What is a good deal to you? That is important. Then go look for it. I think you can find it right now. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, John, you mentioned something about looking for property which can increase value over time, right? Maybe 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 you can share with the audience. What are some of the key factors that would be important, when they're looking at how these whether these properties will increase value over time.
Right. So I always do this famous statement I make, and people will laugh at me when I say that. I say, if that location got no, if you're going to investment, not own state investment, if that location got no traffic jam, better stay away.
Okay.
Because the jam is an indication of high impact economic activities around that area. It's a testimony of demand, and you must go to where the population is, where there is people. It may not be the most beautiful property in town, but it is the most highly demanded property in town. And if you can go to a highly demanded location, where in the other markets in the previous seasons, you may not get any opportunity, but now you've got an opportunity to acquire something there, and even at a corrected price, that's a good deal. So go and look for places where people have high demand, and go and find a good deal in that location. So I always say that, right, as an investor, right, if there's no traffic jam, don't buy. If you think about it, that's the logic behind it, because where there is human population, there's activities, that means there's demand, right?
Okay.
That's my simple 2 cents.
Okay, so look for traffic jam. Okay, Ken. Okay, Tuan Haji Ishak, what about you? Maybe give your your piece of advice on home buyers who want to take the plunge now.
Yeah, I think the most important is you need to invest in knowledge. Okay, especially young graduates. My advice to the young graduates is that go and invest in knowledge. So the most important when buy property, you have to have the information. You have to know about the laws. You have to know about how to get the right deal, right? So go and learn. There are many classes online. So there are many registered property agents are willing to help you. So learn from them, right? So when you have the knowledge, then basically that will drive you to go and find the right property at the right time. Number two, I think you need to basically so understand how to buy property. You need to have the saving, the money, right? So you learn how to have enough saving to buy your first dream home, right? So this is the best time ever, right? During the crisis, when you can see both in the primary market and the secondary market, there are a lot of good deals, right? So there are ways for you to buy a house with a little capital, perhaps, and please, the government has given a lot of incentive, right? Waiver of stamp duties. The developer has giving a 10% discount on the property prices, right? And then the low interest rate now will remain at least for another 1 or 2 years, perhaps. So go and find the right properties, through property agents that are around you. Go and find them, talk to them, and ask for the advice.
So what Tuan Haji is saying is that brush up on the knowledge, know what you're going into, know what is your affordability when you want to buy a property, right? Yeah, read up a lot about the market first, and to understand the place. Yeah, for our viewers who do not know, you can always head over to hprop.my. Here we have all the articles about how you want to buy a property, about JMB, MC, how property management, everything. So if you want to know more, just go over to hprop.my. Okay, and Praveen, yes, Praveen, come share with us. What is your advice here?
In terms of timing, I have to agree with Tuan Haji. I think
Mm.
you can't beat the timing now. I really think with the low interest regime and the low cost of entry because of the home ownership campaign, I think it's just the platform is just right, for one to go in now. So that's on the decision. Is it time to go in? Yes, I think now is a great time to go in, right? Then back to what Jonathan said, right? If it's traffic jam, I mean that for me is also an indication. But my other indication is also, if I want to see capital growth in next 5 to 10, I just got to make sure that there's limited supply coming into the market in that particular location as well, right? And this again is purely for investment, right? So there are only 14 rows of terrace houses in Bangsa Baru. So that kind of market, yes, it's very restricted, limited. I'll definitely look at that. But again, but if it is where I want to stay, then it's going to be determined by my lifestyle, by my spouse's lifestyle, what I want out of my children's upbringing, which school, etc. Then that's a different set of decisions, right? So, is it for timing? Yes. In what you need to buy, I think it's going to be based on the education that what Tuan Haji was saying, right? So demand and supply, always remember that, right? That is always going to be the function if you're looking at the investment side, and if it's your first home side, buy for your lifestyle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Gentlemen, I think we are reaching the 1 hour mark already. So before we wrap up for tonight, right? Is there any other thing any of you want to add on before we wrap up this session? John or Tuan Haji or Praveen?
Okay. Well,
Yeah, Praveen.
I think yes. Even I use HProp as a benchmark. There's a lot of. I think education is very important. Especially, it's going to be the biggest investment in your life, right? So I think do spend time, leverage on the professionals out there. Maybe lawyers, bankers, valuers, estate agents. They're all there for a purpose. Don't be shy to ask the questions. There's never a stupid question. It's only the correct question, right? Never a stupid question. So leverage. That's number one. Number two, timing is perfect, right? So make that call, and you got to understand that in the property market, it's capitalist game, right? So if you got the money, think about it and go ahead and make the investment. All right. All the best.
Yeah, Tuan Haji, any last words you want to add on before we wrap up?
Yeah. So I would like to also encourage the new home buyers to also look another market that are now having a lot of good deals, which is the auction market. Okay, apart from the project, the first primary market offered by the developer and the secondary market, and there are a lot of good deals coming through the auction market, whether it is privately auctioned by the banks or auction via High Court Salinan office, which now you can buy through online bidding. So go and learn how to do to go for auction properties bidding, learn the terms and condition, right? So there are a lot of good properties, coming to the auction market, right? So please study all these three sectors in the market, and go and see people like valuers or property agents, all the property managers, and find good info from the news, the Age Prop and others, and the most important is for you to make an action. So you will have to decide and take actions, and to take actions, you need to have the right information, and go and learn. So when you learn, then you will know that you, at the end of the day, there will be a good will come to you.
Okay, thanks, Tuan Haji. Yeah, John.
Right. I think very simple. If you're in the market and you are new and you're looking to explore the opportunity to look at buying homes, I think what very important is resources, and like what both have spoken, the resources of people is very important. I believe the lawyers, the bankers, and I think estate agents especially are someone that you need to have a partnership with. Go to them for the fiduciary services that they can provide for you. Don't just go to them for whatever listing that they have. Find a partner that is interested to understand what you need, right? And understand what you need and give you suggestions and empower you to make those decisions. Because at the end of the day, you should be the one that's deciding as an ex-consumer, and you should have partners around you that empowers you to make those decisions, right? So I think those fiduciary services are critical in your journey. You should not try to do this on your own. It's not the best way. I think leveraging on their expertise and their time and their reputation and also their foresight is very important. So I think having those resources around you that can support you in this journey, and I think it will be a better journey. And it's a necessary journey for all of us. So that is what I would encourage everyone, the audience, to do.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much, Jonathan, for that piece of advice. Thank you so much to all our three gentlemen for sharing for your sharing today. I think we've taken back quite a lot of knowledge from today's session. I just want to say thank you so much, and to all our viewers out there, remember to head over to vpex.hprop.my to win some prizes, to check out all the all the properties out there that could be your next home. And also if you want to know about news, or you want to read more about how to buy a property, head over to hprop.my. And next week we will be having our third episode, where we'll be talking about industrial properties. Very interesting one. Okay, so next week, don't forget to tune in at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday. And for this week's for our webinar today, the full report will be out this coming Friday, and you can get your copy of your e-weekly also at hprop.my. So thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, Tuan Haji. Thank you so much, Praveen. Good to see all of
Thanks,
you. And
Natalie.
stay
Thanks.
safe, guys. Thank you.
Stay safe as well. Thanks for having us. Bye, Tuan Haji.
Thank
Bye,
you.
John. See you,
Good
man.
night.
Thanks.
Bye.
Good night. Bye. Bye.